Hello and welcome back to Suspended Foundation. I am your host, Dennis Batholkis, and this is The Tick, Season 2, Episode 2, A.E.G.I.S and You. This is actually kind of one of the milder episodes, setting some stuff up, of course. So if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. I'm going to bring up the sign right now, the paddle. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you haven't seen the episode, go and watch it. This will be a video. You can come on back and you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you again, Viking Bitch. There we go for the paddle. And also for just being in here as well. So, did I forget my own podcast last night? No, I'm good. So there we go. We start off actually with A.E.G.I.S. Tick and Arthur are sitting inside an A.E.G.I.S room, and they're watching the A.E.G.I.S introduction video to becoming a hero, registering as a hero. And I love it that it's actually voiced by Shadow Stevens. So they dug up actors from years back. Those of us old farts actually remember them. Shadow Stevens used to do voiceover work for many a show back in the 90s and early 2000s. And he's the one doing the voiceover for the A.E.G.I.S introduction. And I loved, there's a line in there that they have in their little promo that says, you can think of A.E.G.I.S as a government-funded shield. I like that nice little jab that they give. Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is what it was. And yeah, that was pretty funny. It was just a little bit, it was just perfect enough without being, a little too snarky. It's what I like from the Tick, honestly. So Arthur, of course, is enamored by this because he loves everything that's A.E.G.I.S, and the Tick just isn't. He's like, yeah, we don't need to register. Destiny already registered us as heroes, and we don't need to be here. And they pull up the paper too. They have the paper with them because obviously they still read the newspaper. And we found out that the new villain that they were fighting in the first episode, the giant lobster, has now gotten a name, and it's called A.E.G.I.S, which is pretty funny. And so they're kind of discussing what they're going to do with A.E.G.I.S, how they're going to find him when this guy in a lab coat pops up behind them and goes, he goes, that's great. How's it going? Nice to meet you. And they're like, have you been here the entire time? He goes, yeah, I love this movie. So he is Dr. Agent Hobbs. And if he looks familiar to you, as if you're an old fart like me, he is John Hodgman is the name of the actor. He was in the old Mac versus PC commercials back in the 2000s, early 2000s, and he was the PC guy. So yeah, and you just got the notification, Morks. Hey, yeah, it happens. I'm not too far into it, Marks. I just started, so you're actually you're doing okay. So yeah, Dr. Agent Hobbs says that he's going to show them around, and Tick's kind of like, I don't know, we've got a villain that we've got to fight, and Tick's, Arthur's like, no, we want to go and take a look around. And so they're getting led around, and they run into Rathbone again. And Rathbone says, tells Hobb to show them make sure you show them the control center, is what he says. And the A.E.G.I.S anthem starts up, which is has bagpipes, and everyone kind of puts their hand to their head. And Tick's like, "What the hell is this?" And Arthur's like, "Shh, Tick, it's the anthem." And he sees this guy walking down the stairs with a bagpipe, and he goes, "That man is being attacked by whatever that bag is." And he goes, "I'll take care of it." And he goes running up the stairs, and Arthur's like, Tick, no. And of course, he tackles the guy down and grabs the bagpipe and says, he'll be okay. He's a little winded. So yeah, I thought it was pretty damn funny. Yeah, I did like the Marvel DC spoofs of them as well. Pen Farm Grove with the Mac versus PC. So Dot has a dream about picking out shoes as a little girl. Her inability to pick, she wants to get the combat boots, and her mom's like, "I'm not buying any of the combat boots." So they end up buying her some ill-fitting polka dot shoes, and she said, "I don't think they fit." And they're running, and her mom's saying, "We're late." And they get there just in time to see her dad get crushed by the Flag 5 vehicle, of course. And her mom says something like, "We were a minute late. You were a minute late," is what she says to Dot, which is kind of a weird thing, almost kind of like she's blaming her. And then Dot wakes up and she's laying on Overkill's arm. And Overkill's like, "Thank God, finally." And she goes, "Well, you could have moved me, or, you could have chewed your own arm off." He goes, "I thought about it." And um, yeah, he says, "Well, we both passed out." And she goes, "No, you passed out. I went to sleep." She goes, "I think I'm going to call in sick again today." And she stretches out her legs across his lap. She's very, very comfortable with Overkill at this point. A little too comfortable, one might say. And so we see Hobbs. He's showing the duo around the break room. He shows them he shows the Tick and Arthur the break room, and their world famous croissants that they have. Croissants. And they, of course, bite into them. They're like, "Oh my God, these are so good. They've got butter in all the right places." And of course, it's because of the nano butter. The nano butter makes everything better. And they have free Wi-Fi, free food, sleeping arrangements, all that kind of stuff that are there for them to use if they become registered heroes. And the Tick sees a video and he says, "That group of planes looks a lot like Danger Boat." And that's when Arthur tells him, Danger Boat's wanted by A.E.G.I.S at this point, because he used to be a part of them, but he gained sentience and all that kind of stuff. Sentience? God, I can't even speak right now. He became smart and self-aware. There you go. And of course, being hunted now by A.E.G.I.S. So Hobbs gives them paperwork to fill out as heroes, and of course Arthur digs right into it because that's what he is. He's an accountant. He loves paperwork, and the Tick's like, "I don't know about this," and he goes, "Well," Arthur tells him, "Just start filling out the paperwork." And Tick looks at it and goes, "Your name, the Tick. Maybe this is going to be easier than I thought it was going to be." So then we see Rotterdam, Netherlands, and this is where Superion is hiding. He's laying in bed, and he's watching the show Pearl Before Swine, which is the host's name is Pearl. And this guy is just tearing down Hyperion, saying that maybe he's not so perfect after all. If he didn't know the Terror was still alive after all this time, if the Terror was able to dupe him so easily, maybe he isn't perfect, which of course no one is. So there we go. So Larry comes into the room, and Hyperion goes, "What's this, Larry?" And he's showing him the phone. He goes, "Is it unlike or dislike? What is it?" He goes, "Whatever it is, it sounds very negative." And Larry, of course, is trying to get him away from all the social media. He goes, "You don't need to look at all that." And he goes, "Let me take that laptop from you." And Hyperion's like, "Larry, don't touch it." Hey, Movie Finobi. And so Larry, of course, tries to get him away from the social media. It's not working. And Hyperion is full into, I guess you could say, celebrity, depression mode at this point, because he's looking at all this crap that's going on. In the meantime, we see Miss Lint and Frank. They've, of course, recently escaped from the Terror's ship, and they've been on the run. They hide out in the Lilo Motel, which is a Hawaiian-themed hotel that pumps pineapple scent through the vents, so you can almost smell the pineapple. And Frank says the cops took all of her stuff, took control of her lair, and now with Aegis in town, she's not going to be able to show her face anywhere because they're going to be looking for her, of course, since she's the Terror's number 2 person. And, she says, "You know what? I still have access to, excuse me. She goes, "I still have access to Ramsey's old accounts and all that money." She goes, "Maybe I'm going to delve into a little bit of super tech." And Frank says, "You know what? I think I know a guy." So he goes off to go and find that guy. In the meantime, Arthur is helping out Tick navigate the Aegis paperwork. And conveniently enough, since the Tick doesn't remember anything about himself at all, he doesn't remember his origin story, where he came from, none of that. He doesn't remember anything until he saw Arthur. So this kind of makes a little bit of a problem for him filling out this paperwork. But luckily for him, there's a little box that says mysterious massive memory loss. And that's the box they can check, because that takes care of everything right there. So Hobbs comes in and says, okay, is your paperwork done? And they're like, yeah, we finished it all. Here it is. And he goes, great. Now testing can begin. And they're like, what? Testing? What do you mean? And he goes, well, you just can't just fill out the paperwork and be done with it. You know, we have to test you and find out. This is just the beginning. And you hear a Tick audibly sigh. He's like, because of course, all he wants to do is go out and fight crime. He wants to go out on patrol. That is what the Tick is all about. So we see Dot telling Overkill about her dream and how it was about the day her dad died, and how she's never dreamed about that before, and it was so vivid. And Overkill says, yeah, you know, everything that's happened probably messed everyone up pretty badly. And I love how he says the past is poison buried in the glacier, because of course it's when he talked about the Mind Glacier last episode, under 10,000 tons of mind ice. Dangerboat has been calling Overkill repeatedly now, and he finally gets through to Overkill and says, I've been trying to reach you all day. Aegis drones are out there. You know, we're pretty much screwed. And he's like, okay, I'm on it. He hangs up, and Dot's like, what's going on? And he goes, I've got to leave. I can't talk. You're not on a secured line. He goes, if you want to find out what's going on, come with me. And so, of course, she leaves with him. And Arthur, we see him getting scanned. He drinks some barium, and he's going to get scanned to find out what kind of category he is. So humans usually, if you have a category 1 power means you have one ability. So you're either super fast or you heal quickly or something like that. If you're a category 2, you have 2 powers, so on and so forth. You have multiple powers. And so this is what this machine will do, is it will find out your powers. So he drinks the barium, and also it'll give a pretty light show too if you show up as a category. So he drinks down the barium, lays down on the table, and he asks if it's going to hurt. And of course, no, it's not going to hurt. And you see this big imposing machine kind of go over him, and then goes, ding, okay, you're done. And he hops up, and they're like, okay, we're going into the next battery of tests. And they're like, wait a minute, I thought that was going to be it. No. That's one of the tests. We have other ones that we have to go to as well. The Tick, of course, is a category 4. He tells Arthur this, and Arthur still doesn't know what kind of category he is, or he's not saying at this point. So they go out to this room, which Arthur is the first one to go into the room because he's got a lot of moxie. He's got to show his moxie, as the Tick says. And he goes into into the room with a yellow square that's marked danger. And that's where he's supposed to stand, is where it says danger. And out comes this gigantic robotic piston that kind of swivels around, and finally a robotic hand comes out. And this is called the Strong Arm 6000. And it'll judge him by how long it takes to beat him. And he says, you're not supposed to win against it. The whole object is that you're going to lose, but it's going to see how long it takes you to lose. And Arthur grabs onto the hand, and of course says, it's squeezing really hard. And we see the computer actually smile, like it's a little smiley face, and launches Arthur across the room. And the Tick's like, Arthur! Of course, he's, really concerned about Arthur, and he goes running into the room, and he grabs onto the hand, and his test time, he's just sitting there and holding on to it, and he goes, I'm avenging you, Arthur! And of course, he's yawning as he's doing this. Lights are flickering in the building, and Hobbs explains that what this thing does is it actually takes the Tick's strength and feeds it back to him. So basically, you could never really defeat the machine, but he is doing exactly that. He's defeating it, and the lights are flickering, everything's shaking, and the Tick turns and rips the arm straight out of the Strong Arm 6000. He's like, oops, sorry about that. He goes, here, let me fix it. And he's like pushing the arm back in, and finally the guy shoves it back in. He goes, there, fixed it for you. He walks away. So Overkill and Dot make it a danger boat, and danger boat activates his scramblers. And we find out that Overkill and Danger Boat are heading to Havana, Cuba. because Rathbone's in town, so is Aegis. They're wanted, and they're out of they're out of there. And Overkill says, if you didn't want to go to Cuba, you shouldn't have come with me. She goes, well, you could have told me along the way because you didn't have a scrambler. So, now's the time to get off the boat. And she goes, well, what the hell happened between you and Rathbone? And so he says that after the Flag 5 mission, because remember, he was sharpshooter, and his eyes got burned out by the weaponized syphilis. If you saw the first season, Aegis took him in, repaired him, trained him, and Rathbone actually trained him and put him on the Perseus Squadron, is what it was called. And the Perseus Squadron would go on these crazy missions that no one else would go on. And one mission in particular, they were going out to take care of a smaller, an arms dealer called the Duke. And everything went sideways. The Duke knew that they were coming, killed his entire squad. He goes, but not before I got to him and beheaded him. But then I got knocked out, and I woke up getting pushed ashore by a pod of dolphins. So yeah, it's a very a complicated story. And so he says Rathbone at that point thought that he was the one that went rogue and killed all his squad, which of course he didn't. And Dot says, well, have you ever talked to him about this? And he's like, no, of course not. You killed me on sight. She goes, how do you know? You haven't talked to him. And she goes, you shouldn't leave. You should face it and talk to him about this. And she leaves Danger Boat. And Danger Boat says, so are we still going to Havana? He's like, no, we're not. Well, I'm still playing some salsa music because that got me all riled up. I love Danger Boat, man. It's just fucking funny. Who knew the Tick would be a complicated story? I know, really. So we see Arthur staring at the Hero Memorial, and Tick goes, oh no, it's a memory landmine. And he finally tells Tick, you know what, I scored a 0. He goes, I don't have any powers, and they're not going to make me a hero. Because Hobbs had even said, we don't give just anyone a license. He goes, just because you wear a costume doesn't mean we're going to give you a license. He goes, that'd be very dangerous and foolhardy, of course. And so Arthur is very, very much resigned to the fact that he is not going to get a license at this point, since he's a 0. And Hobbs comes in and tells Arthur that Rathbone wants to talk to him. Yeah. So we see Miss Lint in her room with the Lalo, and Frank comes in with a Matrix, a guy that looks like he's dressed up for the Matrix, and we find out that this kid is named Edgelord because he loves to live on the edge. And he's going to show her some super tech equipment on his computer that can enhance Miss Lint's powers. And she's all for it at this point. So Arthur goes into Rathbone's office, and he sits down, and Rathbone tells me he's a category 0. He goes, even some people have moved the needle a little bit. He goes, you didn't move it at all. He goes, you're complete and total category 0. He goes, the Tick, on the other hand, we don't know what the hell he is. He could be the Tooth Fairy for all we know. And he goes, but what we do know is that he's fixated on you, is that he's attached to you. And if you want your license, you're going to keep tabs on him for us. And Arthur's like, I don't think I can spy on him. And he goes, no. This isn't spying. Spying's a different department and a different skill set. Just keep tabs. Let us know what's happening. And Arthur's like, okay. And he agrees. In the meantime, we see Superior in orbit. And he's watching Pearl Before Swine again. And, Pearl is saying some pretty nasty stuff by Hyperion. He finally gets pissed off, and we see him with the eye lasers. He screams, and the eye lasers go flying out into space. And that's where we leave off episode 2. So there we go. Like I said, it was a setup episode for the most part, but still necessary. I thought it was good. Danger Boat is the best. Yeah, Danger Boat is one of my favorite Steves. Nice. Excuse me here. Let's see what else we had. We all know, Mufino says, we all know he has no category. However, do you think they are lying to him? I don't think so. I still contend that Arthur is the one that manifested the Tick from his mind. And it's not some kind of power because we know that Dot has a power, obviously. We saw it in the first episode. So if Dot has a power, Arthur needs to have a power as well. And I kind of think their mom knows about Dot's power because I think that might have been a memory of her dad dying that she doesn't remember. And that whole thing about you were a minute too late is what her mom says is because her mom knows about her power. That's all I'm going to say. Good night, movie Fanobi. Yeah. The Tooth Fairy is a questionable character sneaking into children's bedrooms while they sleep. I know, and then leaving money. That sounds kind of dirty, quite honestly. I'm with you there, Slurmy. And taking teeth. Yeah. Although there was a funny thing in Santa Clarita Diet about teeth, and Drew Barrymore's character is just popping them in her mouth and eating them, and she says they taste like stale corn nuts, but I can't stop eating them. Yeah, there we go. A little bit different thing there. Yeah, I love when the Tick destroyed the arm machine, the Strong Arm 6000 as well. That was pretty damn funny. Movie Fanobi says, I'm still wondering how her powers manifest as a child, then perhaps buried. That's a good question. That is a very good question. What else do we have? And we have, nope, everyone's just saying hello and whatnot. All right. So with that said, I'm going to thank everyone in the chat here. Who do we have here? We have Movie Fanobi, Pen Farm Girl, Morks, Sculpted Leather Art by Viking Bitch, and Slurmy Scott. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for showing up. I know you're not feeling all that well. Hopefully you're getting better there. And no, there was Hellspawn today. They just moved a little further away from the door area. So, and the back area as well. It looks like it's going to, if you want the weather report here, it honestly just has this black cloud hanging over here like it's going to pour, which I'm hoping that's going to be the case because that means no more Hellspawn outside for a little while. Anyway, if you like what you see here after that rousing rendition there, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button. And if you don't like what you see, hit the dislike button. I just asked if you hit the dislike button, you leave a comment down below in the comment section. Someone hit a dislike button last night on the Game of Thrones podcast that I did and didn't mention anything about what the hell it was they didn't like. All right, sure. If you want to see when I'm going to be on next and you have a 50-50 chance of that actually happening, hit the little bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. And you can go into the bell settings and see how frequently you want to get notifications that I'm on live. If you want to know when I'm on, I have a schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com. It's also up on my Facebook page under Suspended Fanimation. And I have a Twitter and an Instagram. You can find all of those there. And on the website, you can also email me as well. There's an email address on there and all kinds of stuff. Well, not all kinds of stuff. It's just kind of basic, really. But there we go. And if you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see a video up here. So I'm going to take a video from my library and post it up here that is best suited to what your viewing habits are. And if you like what you see there, then you can hit the subscribe button. It's going to be over here. There we go. So it was the visiting troll, so don't mind it. Oh, probably. Most likely works. So thank you, everybody. Tomorrow night, of course, is the one night off during the week that I get now because Wednesday nights is going to be Happy. Thursday nights is Gotham. The last 2 episodes of Gotham are coming up here. Friday nights is Doom Patrol. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off. That is where I take all the genre news of the week and talk about all of that, as well as any genre stuff that you guys want to talk about as well. And now Sundays is Game of Thrones. And of course, Mondays, The Tick. There we go. So have a good night, everybody. Again, take a look at the video up here. Hit the subscribe button over here. And I will let you guys go for the night. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get thrown across the room by a sadistic strong arm 6000. Good night, everybody.